What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is Agatha. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel. Please click on the subscribe button, like this video, and share this video. Okay, without further ado, let's hop right into the content for the day. So this is still immigration related content. If you are planning to migrate to Canada, it is very important to know where you're going to be migrating or living in Canada. Canada is such a huge country. It has 10 provinces and 3 territories, and it's not the same for the whole country. For most, they have their own family that's already here in Canada, so that's why they choose to live in that province, so that they have the support system. So before you migrate to Canada, before you choose where you're going to study or where you're going to work or where you're going to reside in Canada permanently, then you might have to think about these few factors. Now, of course, how do you calculate your cost of living, right? So you have to take into consideration a lot of factors like the minimum wage, goods and services taxes. Here in Canada, each province has their own set rules of like minimum wages, goods and service taxes, cost of living. So it's different per province. So you have to look into each province and see where you would like to settle down or reside for the meantime. In this video, I will give you a quick tour or a glimpse of each provinces in terms of their minimum wages, taxes, and we'll also look into the mandatory deductions. Of course, you're going to be working here in Canada, and that's where you're going to get your budget to pay out for your house, your car, or your day-to-day expenses. So you have to make sure that once you're here, you will be able to live, right? So we're also going to look into what the mandatory deductions are when you start working here, so that you can try to compute, as well as the taxes, of course, so you can try to compute how much will be your net pay and see if that's enough for you to be able to live. Let's say this is going to affect what type of accommodation you will be able to get. If you will be able to afford a 1-bedroom apartment, a townhouse, a condominium, a basement, or it's just right enough to rent a room for the meantime, right? Okay, and this is also going to be a factor if you're going to do groceries, because the taxes really make a difference. You know, when you total it at the end of the day, at the end of the month, at the end of the year, you're going to see that it has a huge impact on your expenses. Okay, so since there are lots of provinces and territories, let's go through them one by one. So for the minimum wage, the highest province with the minimum wage is Alberta. In Alberta, currently the minimum wage per hour, so here the usual pay rate here is per hour, okay? So in Alberta, the minimum wage is $15 per hour, and the province with the lowest minimum wage as of the moment is Saskatchewan with $11.32 per hour. But the minimum wage in Saskatchewan will rise to $11.45 by October 1 of this year. Alright, so let's go through the other provinces. So in British Columbia, their minimum wage currently is $14.60 per hour. And next year, by June 1, 2021, it's going to rise to $15.20. So by June 1st of next year, British Columbia will be the province with the highest minimum wage. Yeah. Okay, and next we have for Manitoba, it's $11.65, but October 1 of this year, it's gonna rise to $11.90 per hour. New Brunswick, we're looking at $11.70 per hour. Newfoundland and Labrador, effective April of this year, it's at $11.65. And then this year, October 1, 2020, it will further increase to $12.15. For Nova Scotia, $12.55, but it will increase to $13.10 April 1st of next year. Okay, now we have Nunavut. This isn't a province, this is a territory, but just to get the information, they are paying $16 per hour. Ontario, $14 per hour. It will rise to $14.25 by October 1 of this year. Next, we have Prince Edward Island at $12.85. Quebec at $13.10 per hour. Saskatchewan, which is the lowest one, is $11.32, but it's going to increase to $11.45 on October 1 of 2020. But still with the increase, they still remain as the lowest paying province for the minimum wage per hour. Yukon, we have $13.71. Okay, now we're done with the minimum wage, so you may be able to compute how much you'll be paid on an estimate for the gross monthly salary. But usually, so let's compare that to jobs here. So to give you information, part-time jobs here in Canada can be usually are about 20 hours per week. Okay, but if you are a full-time employee, so a full-time employee here means you have at least 30 hours of job every week. So it's usually 40 hours per week, but it would depend on your employer. But yeah, there's no limit. Here in Canada, you can work multiple jobs, you can work for multiple employers, you can, as long as you can juggle your time between all of those. Yeah. The next factor, aside from the minimum wage per hour, is when you buy goods and services. So we have the goods and services tax, or we also have what we call the HST, or the Harmonized Sales Tax. So this is like already a combination of the different taxes per provinces. All right, now in the running is still Alberta. Alberta has the cheapest goods and services tax across the provinces in Canada. They only charge 5% GST. The rate of tax to charge depends on the place of supply. So there are basic groceries that are taxable at the rate of 0, but the rate for other taxable supplies would depend on the province or territory. So it would depend as well where you live and what commodity you are buying. The usual rates are 5% GST, goods and services taxes. This is for Alberta, British Columbia, Manitoba, Northwest Territories, and Nunavut, Quebec, Saskatchewan, and Yukon. Now for Ontario, they have 30% harmonized sales tax, and 15%, which is the highest bunch of them, would be for New Brunswick, and Newfoundland and Labrador, Nova Scotia, and Prince Edward Island. There's a whole lot of discussion on the goods and services taxes, but if you would like to if you'd like to know more information about that, you can do that by looking it up in the Canada.ca website. So there's going to be more information about that if you want to calculate some commodities and how much their taxes would be. Okay, next we have the income taxes in Canada. So this is very important because everybody here in Canada, as long as you're working, pays taxes. But the good thing is that here in Canada, taxes are on a sliding scale. So they are based on a bracket. So the more you make, the more taxes you pay. So there is a breakdown on these brackets on the website as well, www.canada.ca website. You can just search for the income tax. Okay, now just so that we can have a discussion, a little bit of a discussion about that. I'm not an expert in taxes, but let's take a look at that. In Canada, your personal income taxes are calculated based on your income. Then they minus whatever deductions you may qualify for, okay, to arrive at a taxable income. So for that income, then you will be taxed by, one, the federal government, and then you also have the provincial or territorial government. If you want to simulate how much you will be getting, because you already know the hourly rate, you can try to do a tax calculation. I have a website here. This is actually what I use if I just want to see how much I'll be getting net pay at the end of the month. I use simpletax.ca/calculator. So you have to choose which province you are in so that it can calculate the correct amount. Okay, and then you just type in the information and it's going to give you your taxes. So for you to have a visualization, here are some pictures that I can show you just so you have an idea of like the bracketing system for the taxes. last but not the least for this video is we are going to be looking at what will be deducted on your salary, because that's very important, because that is another factor of how much net pay you will be receiving on a monthly basis or on a bi-weekly basis or a weekly basis, depending on your payroll with the company. Now, we have a couple of mandatory contributions. So this is deducted by your employer. First is the Canada Pension Plan, or the CPP contributions, and we have the employment insurance contributions, or the EI premiums, and we have the income tax. So what is CPP anyway? So looking at CPP, the description is the CPP provides basic benefits when you become disabled or when you retire. And also in the event of your death, the plan provides benefits to your survivors. So this is a mandatory contribution that you will be, I'm sure you will be able to use in the future. Okay, now the employment insurance, so this is deducted every time you are being paid, okay? Yeah, so the employment insurance provides you with temporary financial assistance while unemployed and looking for work. So basically, it's like your safe haven. Like when you run out of work, when you're laid off, or when you still can't get back to work, you've tried. So once you are looking for work, you are eligible to get assistance from your EI premiums. So you may receive the EI assistance in either of the following situations. We're looking at sickness, pregnancy, when you are caring for a newborn or an adopted child, and when you're caring for a seriously ill family member with a significant risk of death. Okay, the amount that you can get, this is on a weekly basis, would depend as well on how much would depend on the contribution that you've already made. Yeah, and there is a minimum number of hours that's required before you are able to get something back from the premiums that you have paid for employment insurance. And of course, do not forget the income tax that we have just discussed. Every time you're being paid, there will be an income tax deduction, a federal and a provincial tax. Of course, at the end of the year, you're going to be filing a tax papers. You'll see if you will be owing any taxes to the government, or they will be refunding taxes that you have paid them. Yeah, that's not due. I hope you were able to get some information that's going to help you in deciding where you would like to settle permanently or temporarily. And next up, I'll be sure to cover out cost of living per provinces. We're going to be looking at the cost of accommodation, transportation, groceries, insurances, and all of that. If you have any suggestions, please let me know. And don't forget to share this video. Thank you guys. I'll see you again. Bye.